The council chamber stretched wide like a great hall, its walls made of materials that seemed to shift between metal and glass. 7 different species sat in a circle, each behind desks that matched their own body shapes. The air smelled strange, filtered and recycled, carrying hints of atmospheres from a dozen different worlds. Ambassador David Chen stood in the center of the circle, his dark suit looking plain compared to the colorful robes and armor worn by the aliens around him. He had been standing there for 3 hours. "The question remains," said Delegate Kesh, his voice rumbling through translators mounted on every surface. The Vrexian looked like someone had crossed a bear with a lizard and then added too many teeth. His scales reflected the blue light from the viewing screens. "Why should we trust another predator species? Your teeth, your forward-facing eyes, your meat-eating history. We know what you are," Chen smiled, keeping his teeth hidden. He had learned that much in 15 years of trying to join the Galactic Council. "We know what we were," he said. "We're asking you to see what we've become." Behind Chen, Colonel Sarah Okonkwo stood perfectly still. She wore her military uniform, medals pinned in neat rows across her chest. Her dark eyes watched everything, recording, calculating. She had not spoken once during the entire hearing. The Pelthian delegate, who looked like a floating jellyfish in a tank of amber liquid, pulsed with soft light. "The humans have followed every protocol," it said through its translator. 15 years of trade, 15 years of peace. They have not raised weapons even when provoked. 15 years is nothing, Kesh growled. The Zinta waited 40 years before they showed their true nature. "We learned that lesson in blood," Chen nodded slowly. "We know about the Zinta. We studied your history before we ever left our solar system. We learned from your mistakes and our own." He pulled up a hologram showing images from Earth. "We fought each other for thousands of years. We nearly destroyed ourselves 3 different times. We know what war costs." The hologram shifted, showing cities rebuilt, forests growing back, oceans cleaned. "We also know what peace can build. That's why we're here. Not because we're weak, but because we're tired of being strong in the wrong ways." The Vrexian snorted, a sound like rocks grinding together. "Pretty words. Your military still exists. You have warships in orbit around every colony." "Yes," Chen said simply. "We do." For the first time, Colonel Okonkwo moved, just her eyes shifting to look at Kesh. The Vrexian noticed. Something in her gaze made him sit back slightly in his chair. "We believe in being prepared," Chen continued. "But preparation isn't the same as aggression. We have ships, yes. We have soldiers. But in 15 years, we haven't fired a shot at any galactic species." "Can the Vrexians say the same?" The chamber went quiet. Kesh's scales darkened with anger, but he didn't answer. The Myrene delegate, who looked like a collection of crystalline branches growing from a central trunk, chimed like bells. "The human proposal is acceptable. Provisional membership. Military restrictions until trust is established. Standard terms." Chen wanted to argue against the restrictions. Earth's military leaders had debated this moment for months. But he simply nodded. "We accept the Council's terms." "Then it is done," said the Pelthian. "Humanity is welcome to the Galactic Council. May your words always be as peaceful as they are today." The delegates began to file out, their various legs and tentacles and floating mechanisms carrying them toward the exits. Kesh stopped beside Chen. The Vrexian towered over him, easily 3 feet taller and twice as wide. "You think you're clever," Kesh said quietly, "playing the peaceful ones. But I know predators. I can smell them. One day you'll show your teeth, and when you do, we'll be ready." Chen met his eyes without flinching. "I hope that day never comes, Delegate." "I truly do." Kesh left, his heavy footsteps echoing through the chamber. When he was gone, Colonel Okonkwo finally spoke. "He's going to be a problem." "Maybe," Chen said. "But he's not our biggest problem. The Krev?" "The Krev." They walked together toward the human section of the station. The Krev Dominion controlled a large section of the galaxy's outer rim. They were conquerors, plain and simple. They took what they wanted and didn't apologize for it. 3 species had gone extinct trying to resist them. The Council tolerated them because fighting the Krev cost too much, and humanity's new territories sat right along the Krev border. "Intel says the Krev are already looking at our colonies," Okonkwo said. "They're used to new species being easy targets. How long do we have?" 6 months. Maybe less." Chen stopped at a window overlooking the station's main hub. Hundreds of species moved through the corridors below, trading, talking, living together in relative peace. It had taken the galaxy thousands of years to build this. Humans wanted to be part of it, to add their voice to the chorus. But Chen knew his history. He knew human history and he knew galactic history. Peace wasn't free. It was bought with careful words, smart choices, and sometimes, when all else failed, the willingness to defend what mattered. Start preparing contingency plans, he said quietly. Full spectrum. I want options for every possible scenario. Okonkwo nodded. You think the Krev will actually start something? I think they'll test us. They test everyone. The question is how we respond when they do. The Council won't like it if we fight back. Chen looked at her reflection in the window. The Council has rules about proportional response and justified defense. We'll follow those rules. We'll follow every rule. We'll be so lawful it makes the Pelthians look sloppy. And if that's not enough, then we'll do what we've always done, Colonel. We'll make hard choices and live with the consequences. He turned away from the window. But first we talk. We negotiate. We try every peaceful option until there are no options left. And if we run out of options? Chen's expression didn't change, but something shifted in his eyes. Something old and tired and very, very human. Then we stopped talking. They walked in silence back to their quarters. Behind them, the station continued its endless rotation, carrying thousands of different species through the void between stars. Humanity had finally joined them, welcomed into the community of civilized peoples. But in the dark spaces beyond the station, Krev warships were already moving. Their commanders had heard the news. A new species had claimed territory near their borders, a species that seemed soft, that talked about peace and cooperation. The Krev had dealt with such species before. It always ended the same way. In her quarters, Colonel Okonkwo began compiling reports, Krev military capabilities, fleet compositions, defensive positions, attack patterns from previous conquests. She worked through the night, building a picture of their potential enemy, because she knew something the Krev didn't, something the Council was still learning. Humans were very good at talking, but they were even better at preparing for the day when talking wouldn't be enough. The station called Outpost 17 floated in neutral space, exactly halfway between human territory and Krev space. It had been built centuries ago as a place where enemies could meet without fighting. The walls were thick, the weapons detectors were everywhere, and the rules were simple. No violence, no threats, only words. Ambassador Chen sat across a metal table from War Master Drexik. The Krev looked like someone had built a warrior from spare parts and rage. His skin was thick and gray, covered in ridges that might have been scars or just natural armor. Forearms, each ending in clawed hands, rested on the table. His eyes were small and yellow, like coins pressed into his face. 3 systems, Drexik said. His voice came out harsh even through the translator. You give us 3 systems. Then maybe we let your other colonies exist. Chen took a slow breath. They had been here for 2 weeks. 14 days of sitting in this cold room, talking in circles, getting nowhere. His team was exhausted. The junior diplomats had dark circles under their eyes. Even his translator, Ms. Park, looked ready to collapse. But Chen kept his voice steady. Those systems have human colonies, families, children. We can't just abandon them. Then move them. Drexik waved one hand like he was brushing away dirt. You have ships. Load them up. Take them somewhere else. Each colony has hundreds of thousands of people. Moving them would take years. It would cost, not my problem. Drexik leaned forward. Here's what you need to understand, human. The Krev Dominion takes what it wants. Always has. Always will. You're new here, small, weak. You should be grateful we're asking at all instead of just taking. Colonel Okonkwo stood against the back wall, silent as always. She wore a different uniform today, Chen noticed. Not her formal diplomatic one. Her combat uniform, plain, practical, with loops and pockets for equipment she wasn't carrying. The Krev guards had checked her thoroughly when she entered. They found nothing. That was because she wasn't carrying anything. Not yet. Chen pulled up a hologram between them. What if we offered shared mining rights? The systems have rich mineral deposits. We could split them, no. Or trade agreements. We have technology that, no. Cultural exchange programs? We've found that when species learn about each other. Drexik slammed all 4 hands on the table. The metal rang like a bell. No, no, no. Do you have water in your ears, human? We don't want to share. We don't want to trade. We don't want to learn your weak little songs and taste your soft little foods. We want the systems. All of them. Give them to us or we take them and you die too. The room went very quiet. Chen heard the Krev guards shifting behind Drexik. He heard Ms. Park's quick breathing. He heard the hum of the station's air recyclers. He did not hear Colonel Okonkwo move, but when he glanced back, her hand was resting on her tablet. Recording everything, I see, Chen said softly. I need to consult with my team. Consult, Drexik laughed. It sounded like metal scraping stone. Talk to your people. Come back tomorrow. Same answer then as now. Give us the systems or die. They left the negotiation room. Chen walked slowly, letting his team get ahead. Okonkwo stayed beside him, matching his pace. Got all of that? Chen asked quietly. Every word, every threat, every gesture. Okonkwo's voice was calm, professional. This is the 14th threat to civilian populations. The 23rd dismissal of peaceful alternatives. The 9th direct threat of violence. Legal opinion? We're clear. More than clear. We've exhausted good faith negotiations under Article 7 of the Galactic Charter. If they attack, we have full rights to proportional defense. Chen stopped at a window. Beyond the thick glass, stars scattered across the void like salt spilled on a black table, somewhere out there. Human families were living their lives not knowing that a species they'd never met wanted to destroy everything they'd built. Set up a call with Earth Command, he said, and get me the Council observers. 3 hours later, Chen stood in a communication room. On one screen, 5 generals looked back at him from Earth. On another screen, 2 Council observers floated in their own ships, watching from a distance to make sure the negotiations stayed fair. Recommendation? Asked General Park. She was old, with white hair cut military short and eyes that had seen too many wars. The Krev won't negotiate, Chen said. I don't think they can. It's not in their culture. They see compromise as surrender. Then we pull back? Another general asked. Evacuate the colonies? No, Chen's voice was firm. We've done nothing wrong. Our colonies are legal. Our territory was approved by the Council. We have a right to be there. But if the Krev attack, then we defend ourselves. That's also our right? Okonkwo stepped forward. I prepared contingency plans. Full spectrum options from minimal force to complete neutralization. All within Council guidelines for proportional response. One of the Council observers, a Pelthian, pulsed with orange light. You would fight the Krev? They have destroyed species more established than yours. We would defend our people, Chen corrected. There's a difference. Is there? The Vrexian observer, not Kesh but one of his military aides, leaned forward. Once blood is spilled, differences vanish. There is only victory or defeat. Chen looked at the Vrexian for a long moment. That's where you're wrong. We don't fight to win. We fight to stop fighting. There's a difference there too. The generals on Earth exchanged glances. General Park spoke carefully. Ambassador, are you requesting authorization for military response? Not yet. I'm going back tomorrow. I'm going to try one more time. I'm going to offer every compromise I can think of. I'm going to give War Master Drexik every possible chance to choose peace. Chen's hands were steady, but his jaw was tight. But I need you ready, because if he refuses, if he threatens our people again, if he makes it clear that violence is his only language, then, General Park asked. Then we stop speaking his language, Chen said quietly, and we start speaking ours. The next day, Chen returned to the negotiation room. He brought new proposals: joint scientific ventures, technology sharing, defense cooperation against other threats, cultural integration programs, economic partnerships. He even offered to rename one of the colonies after a Krev hero. Drexik rejected everything. You bore me, human, the War Master said. You talk and talk and talk. Weak species always do. They think words will save them. He stood up, all 4 arms spread wide. I give you one more day. Tomorrow you bring us control of the 3 systems. Or tomorrow we come and take them. And we'll burn your colonies just to make sure you understand. He leaned across the table, his breath hot and smelling like sulfur. Do you understand now, human? Are my words simple enough for your little brain? Chen stood up slowly. He was smaller than Drexik, shorter by 2 feet, lighter by 200 pounds. But he didn't step back. I understand perfectly, War Master. Thank you for making your position clear. Something in Chen's tone made Drexik pause. Maybe it was the calmness. Maybe it was the way Chen's face showed no fear, no anger, just a kind of tired sadness. You're giving us the systems? Drexic asked. No, Chen said. I'm done negotiating with you. We're done talking. Then you choose death. I choose to consult with my military command about our options going forward. Chen picked up his tablet. Colonel Okonkwo will handle communications from this point. Thank you for your time, War Master. He walked toward the door. Okonkwo stepped forward, and for the first time in 2 weeks she spoke to the Krev. War Master Drexic, she said. Her voice was quiet even, perfectly calm. Do you have access to a secure communication channel? Drexic looked confused. What? I need to know if you can receive official military notifications. It's required under council law. I can receive whatever messages I want. Good. You'll be receiving one in approximately 6 hours. Please read it carefully. It will contain important information about civilian evacuation procedures. Drexic laughed. Your civilians can't evacuate in time. We have ships moving already. Not our civilians, Okonkwo said. She met his eyes. Yours. Then she turned and followed Chen out of the room, leaving Drexic staring after them, his laughter dying in his throat. In the corridor, Ms. Park caught up to them. Sir, what happens now? Chen didn't stop walking. Now we tell the council what happened. Every word, every threat, every offer we made. We make sure everyone knows we tried. And then, Colonel Okonkwo answered, then we let the Krev find out what happens when humans stop talking. Her voice was calm. Perfectly, eerily calm. The council chamber was packed. Every delegate had come, along with military observers, legal advisors, and representatives from 24 species who wanted to see what would happen when the Krev challenged the newest members of the galactic community. Ambassador Chen walked to the center of the circle. He carried a single tablet. Behind him, Colonel Okonkwo stood in her combat uniform. No medals today. Just plain military efficiency. The Pelthian who led the council pulsed with blue light. Ambassador Chen, you have requested an emergency session. The council recognizes Earth. Chen touched his tablet. The air above him filled with images, recordings, documents, timestamps. 15 days ago, we met with War Master Drexic of the Krev Dominion. Chen began. His voice was calm, almost casual. He demanded we surrender 3 colonial systems. We refused. We offered alternatives. The holograms showed each meeting, each offer, each rejection. Day 1, we proposed shared mining. Operations. Rejected. Day 2, technology exchange. Programs. Rejected. Day 3, trade. Agreements. Rejected. Chen went through all 14 days. Every offer humanity had made. Every peaceful solution they had suggested. The council watched in silence. Even Delegate Kesh, the Vrexian, leaned forward, his scales reflecting the light from the holograms. Day 14. We offered to rename a colony in honor of Krev culture. The War Master's response was, and I quote, I don't want your weak little offerings. Give us the systems or die. Chen paused. He looked around the circle, meeting the eyes of each delegate. This was not the first threat. It was the 23rd direct threat of violence against human civilians. We have recorded all of them. They are available for council review under Section 4 of the Charter, which requires all member species to document attempts at peaceful resolution. The Myrene delegate chimed softly. And what do you wish the council to do, Ambassador? Nothing, Chen said simply. The chamber erupted. Delegates talking over each other. Translators struggling to keep up. The Pelthian pulsed red, calling for order. Explain, the Pelthian said. Chen's expression didn't change. We are not asking the council to intervene. We are not asking for protection. We are not asking for help. We are simply informing you, as required by law, that we have exhausted all diplomatic options with the Krev Dominion. Kesh stood up. You're surrendering. Giving them the systems. No, then what? Chen looked at the Vrexian. We're done talking to them. The chamber went quiet. It was a strange quiet, heavy and waiting. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably. A small delegate from the Rixian collective, who looked like a blue-furred mammal with too many eyes, spoke up nervously. But if you're not surrendering and you're done talking, that means... It means we are preparing to defend our territory and our citizens, Chen said. As is our right under Article 12 of the Galactic Charter. You're going to fight the Krev. The Rixian's voice went high with shock. They'll destroy you! Maybe, Chen closed his tablet. But they won't do it without cost. And they won't do it to people who spent 14 days trying to find peace. Delegate Kesh stepped down from his platform. He walked across the chamber floor, something that wasn't usually done. He stopped in front of Colonel Okonkwo, studying her with his yellow eyes. "You're their war leader," he said. "Not a question." "I command Earth's military forces in this region," Okonkwo replied. "You think you can beat the Krev? I think we can stop them from hurting our people." "That's not the same thing." "No," Okonkwo agreed. "It's not, but it's enough." Kesh looked at her for a long moment. Then he turned to the council. "I wish to speak," the Pelthian pulsed. "The council recognizes the Vrexian delegate." Kesh's voice rumbled through the chamber. "The Vrexians have fought the Krev 3 times. We won twice, lost once. They are strong, vicious, and they don't stop, but—" He paused. "They also expect their enemies to fight like them. All rage, all force, all the time. The humans have done something different." "What?" asked the Rixian. "They've been patient. They've documented everything. They've followed every law." Kesh looked at Chen. "You've built a legal case while preparing for war. Smart. We don't want war," Chen said quietly, "but you're ready for it." Kesh nodded slowly. "There's wisdom in that. The Krev respect strength. They don't respect peace. You've shown them both." The Pelthian pulsed yellow, a sign of concern. "If humanity engages the Krev militarily, it could destabilize the entire sector. Other species might get drawn in. We could see a general war." "Then the Krev should choose not to attack," Chen said. "We're not going to their territory. We're not threatening their people. We're simply saying we won't abandon ours." "Colonel Okonkwo," the Pelthian said. "Do you have anything to add?" Okonkwo stepped forward. She didn't bow, didn't gesture, just stood there in her plain uniform. "Yes, I have a statement to make. For the record," she pulled out her own tablet. The air filled with new images. Star charts, ship positions, defense grids. 47 Krev military installations currently operate within strike range of human territory, Okonkwo said. Her voice was flat, professional, like she was reading a weather report. Installation Alpha 7, orbital defense platform. Crew of 200, civilian population on nearby moon estimated at 15,000. Installation Beta 3, supply depot, crew of 800, nearest civilian center 40 light minutes away. Installation Gamma 1, command station, crew of 5,000, civilian shipyard attached. She went through all 47. Names, locations, crew sizes, defensive capabilities, the civilian populations nearby. Evacuation routes, emergency shelter locations. The council listened in growing horror. Not because the information was violent, but because it was so precise, so complete, so clearly the result of months or years of careful intelligence gathering. Kesh's scales had gone pale. "That's not a threat assessment," he said slowly. "That's a target package." Okonkwo looked at him. "It's both. How long have you been planning this?" "Since before we joined the council," Okonkwo said. "We hoped we'd never need it. We tried for 15 years to make sure we wouldn't. But hope isn't strategy. We prepare for what might happen while we work for what we want to happen." The Rixian delegate was shaking. "You're going to attack all 47 installations?" "No," Okonkwo said. "We're going to give them the chance to evacuate." She tapped her tablet. A countdown appeared, glowing red in the air. 48 hours. All civilian personnel should be moved to safe distances. All military personnel who don't wish to fight should be granted leave. After 48 hours, any military installation that's actively participating in hostilities against human territory will be considered a legitimate target under council rules of engagement. You're giving them a warning? The Rixian sounded confused. We're giving them a choice, Chen said. He had moved to stand beside Okonkwo. The same choice we wanted them to give us. Peace or war, walk away or fight, live or die. We're just making sure everyone knows what those choices mean. The chamber was silent. That same heavy, waiting silence. The Pelthian pulsed several colors at once, a sign of deep thought. This is unprecedented. Species don't usually announce their military plans. We do, Okonkwo said. Transparency reduces misunderstandings. It makes sure everyone knows the rules, and it gives people time to make better choices. But you're still going to fight. If the Krev attack our colonies, yes, we're going to fight. Okonkwo's voice didn't change. Still calm, still even. But something in her eyes made several delegates lean back. We're going to defend our people with every resource we have. And we're going to make sure the Krev understand that attacking human civilians costs more than it's worth. Delegate Kesh made a sound like grinding rocks. You're not trying to win. You're trying to make them quit. We're trying to make them think, Chen corrected. Wars start because people stop thinking. They just react. We're giving the Krev time to think about what they're starting. The Myrene delegate chimed a sad sound. And if they don't think? If they attack anyway? Okonkwo and Chen looked at each other. Some unspoken communication passed between them, built from years of working together, of seeing humans at their best and worst. Chen spoke first. Then they'll learn what happens when humans are done talking. Which is? The Myrene asked. Colonel Okonkwo's expression didn't change. Her voice stayed perfectly calm. But every military observer in the room felt something shift. Something old and deep and very human. They'll learn that we don't stop being soldiers just because we've been playing diplomat, Okonkwo said quietly. They'll learn that patience isn't weakness. They'll learn that the longer we spend trying to avoid a fight, the more ready we are when the fight comes. She looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of each delegate. And they'll learn that when humans finally decide to end something, we end it completely. The countdown continued. 47 hours, 53 minutes remaining. In the silence that followed, War Master Drexik received his notification. He read it, he laughed. He called his commanders and told them to prepare for an easy conquest. The Krev had never lost to a species that warned them first, but they had never fought humans before. And humans, for all their talk about peace, had learned their lessons in blood over thousands of years of fighting each other. They knew how to make war. They just preferred not to. The council adjourned. Delegates hurried to their ships, some to watch from a distance, others to move their own people away from. The countdown reached 0 at exactly midnight, station time. Most species marked the moment with ceremonial importance, watching from observation ships scattered across neutral space. They wanted to see what would happen when humans stopped talking. War Master Drexik sat in his command throne aboard the battlecruiser Bloodletter. Around him, his fleet spread across space like a dark stain. 200 warships. Enough to crush any resistance. More than enough to teach the humans their place. Status of their colonies? Drexik asked. No evacuations detected, War Master, his tactical officer reported. Their ships remain in orbit. Their people remain on the ground. They're not running. Drexik smiled. Good. More satisfying when they watch us coming. The human deadline has expired. They should be moving now. Let them move. Let them try. Drexik stood up. All ships begin assault formation. Target the closest colony. Helios 3. We'll make it burn bright enough for the others to see. The Krev fleet began its approach. Weapons charging. Shields at full power. Every commander knew their role. They had done this dozens of times before. Then something appeared on their sensors. Not near Helios 3. Not near any colony. Behind them. What is that? Drexik demanded. Human fleet, War Master. 37 ships. They just dropped out of FTL at our rear. Our rear? Drexik spun to look at the tactical display. How did they get behind us? Unknown. They weren't there 10 seconds ago. Drexik studied the formation. 37 ships against his 200. The humans had positioned themselves perfectly to cut off retreat, but they were vastly outnumbered. They're trying to make us turn around. Ignore them. Continue to the colony. War Master, we're receiving a transmission from the human fleet. Put it through. Colonel Okonkwo's face appeared on the screen. She sat in a command chair, wearing combat armor now instead of her uniform. Behind her, the bridge of a human warship hummed with quiet activity. War Master Drexik, she said. Her voice was the same as always. Calm. Even. Perfectly controlled. This is your final warning. Turn your fleet around. Return to Krev space. No one needs to die today, Drexik laughed. You have 37 ships. I have 200. You're outnumbered, you're outgunned, and you think you can threaten me? I'm not threatening you, Okonkwo said. I'm giving you information. What you do with it is your choice. Here's my choice, human. I'm going to destroy your colony. Then I'm going to destroy your fleet. Then I'm going to hunt down every other human colony and teach your species what happens when you refuse the Krev. I see. Okonkwo nodded slightly. Then you understand that you have chosen war over peace. You've been given multiple chances to walk away. The Council will note that in their records. The Council can watch us kill you. They will, Okonkwo agreed, and they'll see exactly how we respond. Goodbye, War Master. The screen went dark. Drexik settled back in his throne. Continue to the colony. Kill the ships behind us if they interfere. This will be over in an hour. It took 30 seconds for everything to go wrong. The 37 human ships didn't fire their weapons. They did something else. They broadcast a signal tight beam, perfectly directed, not to the Krev fleet, to points in empty space around them, and space stopped being empty. Ships appeared. Hundreds of them. Thousands of them. They had been there all along, hidden by some technology the Krev didn't understand. Stealth fields, thermal dampeners, sensor ghosts. The humans had surrounded the Krev fleet while staying invisible. Status. Drexik roared. Multiple contacts. 4,000 ships. That's impossible. The humans don't have that many ships. They're not all military vessels, War Master. Civilian transports. Mining ships. Personal craft. Everything with an engine and a transmitter. And weapons. Unknown. They're just sitting there. Surrounding us, Drexik looked at the tactical display. His 200 warships, designed for conquest, sat in the middle of a sphere made of human vessels. Not a military formation, just presence. Bodies in space, witnesses to what was about to happen. They're watching, Drexik said quietly. They brought everyone to watch. A new transmission came through. Not Okonkwo this time. Ambassador Chen. He sat at a desk somewhere, not on a warship. Just a simple room with Earth's flag behind him. War Master Drexik, Chen said. Every ship you see represents people who wanted to be here. Civilians who heard that our colonies were threatened, who volunteered to come and watch what happens next. They're not soldiers. They're not armed. They're just here to bear witness. Witness to what? Drexik demanded. To your choice. Chen's face was sad. Very sad. You were given 48 hours to evacuate your military installations. Most of your people left. But some stayed. The true believers. The ones who thought we were bluffing. How many, Colonel? Okonkwo's voice came through audio only. 17 installations refused to evacuate. Total of approximately 4,000 military personnel who chose to remain at their posts. 4,000, Chen repeated. 4,000 Krev who could have left. Who could have gone home. Who chose to stay because they thought we wouldn't follow through. Drexik felt something cold in his stomach. You're bluffing. You won't attack them. We gave them 48 hours, Chen said. We gave you every chance. We tried for months to find peace. But you insisted on war. So this is war. Colonel, execute the operation. Confirmed, Okonkwo said. All strike teams, you are weapons-free. I repeat, weapons-free. Rules of engagement are in effect. Minimize collateral damage. Precision strikes only. Confirm targets before firing. The Krev fleet sat in the middle of the human sphere, surrounded by thousands of watching ships. They waited for an attack that didn't come from any direction they expected, because the human warships hadn't moved. The 37 visible ones, or the handful of actual military vessels hidden among the civilian fleet. They stayed exactly where they were. Instead, something else happened. At Krev Installation Alpha 7, the orbital defense platform registered multiple incoming objects. Small, fast, almost invisible. By the time sensors locked on, it was too late. The objects weren't missiles. They were breaching pods. They punched through the hull in 17 different places. Human soldiers poured out, not with bombs or heavy weapons, with rifles and riot shields and stunning devices. They moved through the station like water, flowing around resistance, isolating pockets of defenders. The fighting was quick, precise, almost surgical. 15 minutes later, the station was secured. Krev defenders sat in their own holding cells, dazed but alive. Human engineers were already repairing the breaches, making sure the station stayed livable. It happened at all 17 installations. Not orbital bombardment. Not missiles from a distance. Human soldiers boarding, securing, capturing, fighting in corridors and rooms up close where Krev size and strength should have been advantages. But humans were faster, smarter. They used tactics instead of force. Angles instead of strength. They took elevated positions, created crossfires, used stunning weapons that dropped Krev without killing them. The Galactic Council watched from their observation vessels. Their cameras recorded everything. Every human assault was transmitted across the galaxy in real time. Delegate Kesh watched on his ship's main viewer. He saw human soldiers working in pairs, one with a shield, one with a rifle. He saw them use corners and cover the way Vrexians did, the way any good soldier did. But there was something else. Something in how they moved. They weren't fighting to kill. They were fighting to win. When a Krev threw down their weapon, humans accepted their surrender. When a Krev was wounded, humans gave medical aid. When a corridor was secured, humans immediately started counting civilians, checking for injuries, protecting the vulnerable. They're treating this like a police action, Kesh said to his aide. Not a war. Is there a difference, Delegate? Yes, in war you destroy the enemy. In police action you stop the crime. Kesh leaned forward. They're not trying to beat the Krev. They're trying to arrest them. At Installation Gamma 1, the Krev commander was a female named Keshra. She had 400 soldiers under her command, and she used them well. Her people held the main command center for almost an hour, using every defensive position, every weapon they had. The humans didn't rush. They established perimeter, cut off escape routes. Then they brought up a speaker and a translator. Commander Keshra, a human voice said in careful Krev. You fought well. Your people are brave. But this is over. 17 other installations have already fallen. No one else is coming to help you. Surrender now and everyone lives. Keep fighting and people die for nothing. Krev do not surrender, Keshra roared back. Then Krev die pointlessly, the human replied. That's not bravery. That's waste. You have 60 seconds to choose. Keshra looked at her soldiers, young ones mostly, true believers who thought the Krev were invincible, who thought conquering was glorious. She had believed that once too. A long time ago. Stand down, she said quietly. Commander, stand down. They're right. No one else is coming, and I won't kill my people for pride. The humans took their surrender professionally. They secured weapons, checked for injuries, gave water and food. They treated the Krev with respect, like soldiers who had fought and lost, not like animals to be pawn. 2 weeks after the Krev fleet turned around, Ambassador Chen stood once again in the council chamber. This time the mood was different, uncertain, confused. The delegates weren't sure if they should be grateful or terrified. The Pelthian pulsed red, a color that meant serious concern. The council has reviewed all records of the conflict. We have concerns about humanity's military actions. I expected you would, Chen said calmly. You hid your true military strength from us. Those stealth ships, that intelligence network. You were far more prepared than you appeared. We were exactly as prepared as we needed to be, Chen replied. We told you from the beginning we have a military. We just prefer not to use it. Delegate Kesh stood. His scales had a different color now, a kind of deep purple that meant respect. I wish to speak. The council recognizes the Vrexian delegate. Kesh looked at Chen. I was wrong about you. I thought you were weak because you talked so much. I thought your patience meant fear. I was wrong. Thank you, delegate, and that wasn't a compliment, Kesh said. Not entirely. You're dangerous. More dangerous than species who simply fight. Because you can do both. You can be peaceful until the moment you decide not to be. And when you make that decision, you're prepared. Completely prepared. The Myrene chimed in, a worried sound. This is the council's concern. How can we trust a species that hides so much? That plans for war while speaking of peace? Chen took a deep breath. May I tell you a story? The Pelthian pulsed yellow. This is irregular, please. It's important. Very well. Chen touched his tablet. An image appeared. Earth, blue and green, hanging in black space. This is our home. 300 years ago, we nearly destroyed it. Wars, weapons, pollution. We came very close to making our world unlivable. The image changed. Cities in ruins. Forests burning. Oceans choked with waste. We learned something then. Something hard. Peace isn't the absence of weapons. Peace is the choice not to use them. You can't choose not to use something you don't have. You can only choose not to use something you could use but decide not to. The images shifted again. Earth rebuilding. Green returning. Cities growing back but different. Better. We spent 200 years learning to be peaceful. Not by becoming weak, but by becoming strong enough that we could afford to be gentle. Strong enough that we didn't have to prove ourselves. Strong enough that we could choose peace without feeling like we were surrendering. Chen looked around the circle. Every species here has weapons. The Vrexians have conquered 12 systems. The Pelthians have defense fleets. Even the Myrene have orbital platforms. Why? Because sometimes peace requires the ability to defend it. But you went further than defense, the Rixian delegate squeaked. You invaded Krev installations, after they threatened to invade our colonies, after they refused every peaceful option, after they made it clear they would only understand force. Chen's voice stayed calm. We followed every rule. We gave warnings. We offered evacuations. We minimized casualties. We used proportional force. Everything we did was legal under council law. Legal, the Pelthian pulsed. But unexpected. Maybe that's the real concern, Okonkwo said. She had been standing quietly in the back, but now she stepped forward. Not that we broke rules, but that we followed them perfectly while still winning. The chamber went quiet. Delegate Kesh said we're dangerous because we can be peaceful, and then stop being peaceful, Okonkwo continued. He's right. But every species here can do that. The difference is we do it consciously. We choose when to talk and when to fight. We don't just react, we decide. And that makes you better than us? The Rixian sounded offended. No, Okonkwo said. It makes us human. We have a long history of making bad choices, of fighting when we should talk, of talking when we should fight. We've learned slowly, painfully how to know the difference. She pulled up a hologram. Images from the captured Krev installations. Prisoners being treated. Medical care being given. Facilities being repaired. We captured 4,000 Krev soldiers. We killed 0 civilians. 0. Not because we couldn't, because we chose not to. That's what humanity offers the Council. Not peace through weakness. Peace through choice. The Council members talked among themselves, delegates in small groups discussing in their own languages. Chen and Okonkwo waited patiently. Finally, the Pelthian pulsed. The Council requests a recess to deliberate. Of course, Chen said. They waited in a side room. Okonkwo sat at a table reviewing reports. Chen stood at the window looking out at the stars. You think they'll expel us? Okonkwo asked. Maybe. Fear makes people do strange things. Would that be so bad? We could still trade. Still cooperate. We don't need their permission to exist. No, Chen agreed. But we need their trust to build something better. Something that lasts. The door opened. A Vrexian aide stepped in. Delegate Kesh requests a private meeting. Off the record. They followed the aide to a smaller chamber. Kesh waited there alone. No guards, no assistants. Just the big warrior delegate in a plain room. Sit, Kesh said. They sat. Kesh looked at them both for a long moment. The council is going to vote to remove your military restrictions. Chen blinked. What? Some delegates are afraid of you, but more are thinking about the Krev, about what you did, about what it means. Kesh's scales shifted colors. You could have destroyed those installations. Could have killed everyone. Could have made it so bloody that the Krev would never threaten anyone again. But you didn't. We don't believe in revenge, Chen said. I know. That's what scares some delegates and impresses others. Kesh leaned forward. The Vrexians have fought for territory, for resources, for honor. But we've never fought to teach a lesson. You did. You showed the Krev that attacking you cost more than it's worth, but you did it without becoming monsters. That was the goal, Okonkwo said. I know. And that's why the council will vote to trust you. Kesh stood up. But I want you to understand something. The galaxy is watching you now. Watching to see if you can keep being what you claim to be. Peaceful but strong. Patient but effective. Some species will test you. Try to push you. See if you really mean it. And if they do, Chen asked, then you'll do what you did to the Krev. You'll exhaust every peaceful option. You'll document everything. You'll give warnings and chances. And then when there are no options left, you'll show them why humans are dangerous. Kesh walked to the door. He paused with his hand on the panel. The Vrexians respect strength. We respect warriors. But we respect something else more, discipline. The ability to choose when and how to fight. You have that. Use it well, he left. The council vote came 2 hours later. Humanity's military restrictions were lifted. Full membership granted. Several species even requested defense cooperation agreements. But one more thing happened that day. Something that would become legend across the galaxy. War Master Drexik requested permission to address the council. He arrived not in his war armor, but in simple robes. He walked to the center of the circle and bowed, a gesture the Krev rarely made. I was wrong, he said. His voice was quiet without the usual arrogance. I believed the humans were weak because they negotiated. I believed patience was fear. I believed their offers were desperation. He looked at Chen. You gave me 16 chances. 16 times you offered peace. 16 times I refused. Not because your offers were bad, but because I couldn't imagine a strong species choosing peace. What changed your mind? The Pelthian asked. They surrounded my fleet with civilians, Drexic said. Thousands of unarmed ships. People who came just to watch, to witness. That's when I understood. They weren't just ready to fight. They were ready to have everyone see them fight. They had nothing to hide, nothing to be ashamed of, because they had done everything right. He turned to face the full council. The Krev Dominion has a message for all species. When humans say they are done talking, believe them. Not because they will be cruel, not because they will be excessive, but because they will be effective. They will do exactly what they said they would do. No more, no less. And they will do it so well that you will wish you had listened when they were still talking. Drexic bowed again and left. The chamber was silent for a long time. Finally, Chen spoke. The council asked if they can trust humanity. I can't answer that. Trust is earned over time, through actions, through consistency. All I can promise is this: we will always talk first. We will always try to find peaceful solutions. We will always exhaust every option before we fight. And when there are no options, the Myrene asked, then we will fight, Okonkwo said. Her voice had that same eerie calm it always had. We will fight fairly. We will fight legally. We will fight effectively. And when the fight is over, we will try to talk again, because that's what humans do. We learn from our failures and we try again. Chen stood. We came to the galaxy hoping to be part of something bigger, a community of different species working together, building something that lasts. We still want that. We'll keep wanting that even when others don't. That's what makes us human. 6 months later, humanity opened its first joint military academy with the Vrexians. 3 species requested human advisors for their defense forces. The Krev started sending diplomats to human colonies trying to rebuild relationships. Thank you for watching and comment for next part.